welcome friends to another exciting episode of A VGM Journey. And I'm your host, The Messenger. The track that we're playing in today's show is Above the Clouds from the game Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards. And it was composed and arranged by Jun Ishikawa and Hirokazu Ando. Once again, we got another exciting show with some pretty awesome tracks from a few awesome people. And I say, let's get right into it. This next track is a request from Utopia Nemo. He wanted me to play something from Thunderblade. This is Type 2, and it was composed by Koichi Namiki. That track that you just listened to, that was Type 2 from the game Thunderblade, and it was composed by Koichi Namiki and requested by Utopia Nemo. So thank you, Utopia Nemo, for that request. I have to give a little bit of an on-air apology to Mr. Nemo, because I've been sitting on this request and this audio testimonial for close to a year, and I want to do right by you by playing both. So here's Utopia Nemo's audio testimonial.
I remember playing Thunderblade at Chuck E. Cheese. Sitting down, strapping in, and swaying wildly in the cockpit as I'd banked the stick right or left. The faux helicopter hungrily gobbled up as many rat-emblazoned tokens as I could shove into its slotted maw, bestowing upon my tiny, adrenaline-addled frame a few short moments of dopamine bliss. All too soon, however, my quick demises reawakened the starving beast, demanding more tribute at the threat of a restart. As if aware of my dumbfounded stupor, the beast accelerated its threat. It leered at me, as if to say, "I'm gonna count to 10, and if you don't feed me, you'll lose the few precious yards you gain forever." I got the message. Shoving my little fingers into my lint-filled pockets, I searched desperately for any remaining vestiges of my once vast treasure of rodent currency. The beast took no pity upon me in my miserable state. It seemed to accelerate the count. 6, 5, 4. I found my salvation. I could feel the precious treasure at the bottom of that polyester void. Panic-stricken, I yanked my clenched fist out of my pocket like a flesh and textile UFO catcher and shoved them down the ravenous gullet of my tormentor. I could hear the clinks of my last few vermin coins in the belly of the beast, my treasure being reunited with the last of its exiled kind. 1 token, 2, 3. Wait, where the heck is that last token? My heart raced as I realized I was 1 token short. Then my racing heart stopped and plummeted into the depths of my pizza-laden gut as I watched the screen. 2, 1, game over. The beast called Thunderblade became cold and vindictive, flipping to the start screen, parading to the world that only 1 more token was needed to play. It was done with me. It had sucked me dry of all I had to offer. The story from here would be a familiar one, the pleading with the parent for that last 1 rat token. And, success or fail, I knew I would return to see some rotten brat playing my game, completely oblivious to my sorrow. But hot diggity, that 80s fusion jazz was worth it.
Oh man, that was some good stuff. And thank you for that audio testimonial. I really like that story, Utopia Nemo. I just want to throw in just a few quick comments before I move on to the next track. And that I really dug that track, and it really sucks that I wasn't alive at that time when these Sega arcade classic were a big deal, and the soundtracks they've had, absolutely amazing. Stuff like Afterburner and Outrun, such good stuff. So once again, Utopia Nemo, thank you for that request. We're going to move on to another request, this time coming from Hammock, the host of KVGM The Last Wave. And he wanted me to play this track, Nightwalker, from the game Under Night in Birth EXE Lite, and it was composed by Raito. That track that we just listened to, that was Nightwalker from the game Under Night in Birth EXE Late. And that was composed by Raito. And it was also requested by Hammock. So thank you, Hammock, for that track. To be honest, I'm actually not familiar with this game at all. But I did check out a little bit of gameplay for it. And I can tell that this is one of those Arc System Works fighting games where they have pretty crazy soundtracks and have highly detailed hand-drawn animation for characters. So the characters look really good and they animate very well too. I'm assuming that this is a character theme or maybe like a stage theme, and I could picture it maybe out in the countryside in the middle of the night and there's like a giant moon in the background. That's the vibe that I get. Could be something with werewolves or vampires. I mean, I might be way off, who knows. And the piano work is very well done. I feel like I need to step out of my comfort spot when it comes to fighting games. So I've only played what I would call the major fighting games like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. But these Arc System Works fighting games, they do have a certain charm to them. And I think I should give them a chance at some point. So once again, Hammock, thank you for that request. This next track is coming from the game Monster in My Pocket. It was a request by Bedroth, and he wanted me to play the track Towering Catastrophe, also known as Stage 4, and it was composed by Hiroshi, Takeyasu, and Kozo Nakamura. That track that you just listened to, that was Towering Catastrophe, also known as Stage 4, from the game Monster in My Pocket. It was composed by Hiroshi Takeyasu and Kozo Nakamura, and this was requested by Bedroth, so thank you, Bedroth, for that request. Bedroth mainly requested this track because recently there's been a little bit of a controversy with the music group called BTS, and that on one of their songs, they might have been influenced by this specific track from Monster in My Pocket. And to be honest, I wasn't really familiar with them, so this was something that I didn't even know about until he requested this track. So I gave that song a quick listen, and I can see it. I think I'm going to try to play like just a little clip of the song. I hope I don't really have any kind of license crap thrown at me, so I'm doing this for you guys. And let me know what you guys think. So here is BTS's song Butter.
Smooth like butter, like a criminal undercover. Don't pop like trouble, breaking into your heart like that.
I think that's pretty close, to be honest. Now, I'm not saying that there was any wrongdoing or anything there. I'm just saying that things are looking a little sus. And Bedroth, thank you for that pretty awesome song. Not that BTS song, though. I meant the Monster in My Pocket track. And I hope that you could cover my legal fees if I ever need it. Alright. This next track, it's another request, this time coming from Carly, my fiance, and she wanted me to play The Backyard from the game Octodad, Dadliest Catch, and it was composed by Seth Parker. That track that you just listened to, that was The Backyard from the game Octodad, Dadliest Catch. It was composed by Seth Parker, and it was requested by Carly. So, thank you, Carly, for that track. And that's going to just about do it for the show this week. If you like what you've been listening to, have your friends check out the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever podcatching service that you can think of. I'm more than likely going to be on there. You can email the show at vgmjourney@yahoo.com, and you could also check us out on Twitter at vgmjourney. I also have a Discord server for the show, which I will provide a link for that in the show notes, where you could hang out with your fellow VGM journeymen and talk about games, music, and even look at some cool art. I've also started a Patreon for the show, which I will also leave a link to that in the show notes. And at just $3, you can gain access to a monthly Patreon-only bonus show called a VGM Side Quest that I host with Carly, the requester of the Octodad track. And you could also get yourself a shout-out at the end of every show, just like the following people: Ed Wilson of the VG Embassy, Scott McElhone, and John Harrington, John Regan, David Fleming, and Jesse Moore of Game That Tune. So thank you guys for your pledges. I'm going to play things out with one more track, and I promise you this is not a Rickroll. This track is Robo's theme from the game Chrono Trigger, and it was composed by Yasunori Mitsuda. Have a good week, everyone.